Welcome to Overpowered FC. This is the final season, the final episode of Rebuilding Barcelona. And I think it's safe to say we've rebuilt the finances and everything else. It's now just a case of, can anyone stop us from winning absolutely everything? Because we are just so good. Okay, welcome to the video, folks, and we'll start customarily on the finance screen. And as you can see, from an original transfer budget of 230 million, we've still got 95 million pound there. It's not that I haven't bought players, because I've bought, I think, 4 players. We'll have a look at those in a minute. But the issue has been actually finding anyone to buy, because we have such a good team now, or such a good squad, that most of the players that are out there that are available to us, we just don't want or don't need. We'll go through some of the people that I looked at that I couldn't get for whatever reason, but we still have around £370,000 in the wage budget as well. The overall bank balance is 274 million. If we have a look at our debts and loans, we have a £55 million transfer debt, and our net debt is now only 5 million. I mean, if you go back to episode 1, season 1, and actually look at what the net debt was then, the fact that we've got that down to just one bank loan now and just 5 million remaining on that, it's just incredible that FM clearly does things to ensure that the debt comes down, put it that way, because I've not done a great deal, let's be honest. In terms of the projections, I mean, by the end of the 29-30 season, not that we're going to be here, but they're expected to have £884 million in the bank. It's just disgusting. I mean, bearing in mind I'm being given £250 million transfer budgets at the moment, I dread to think how much you're going to get given once this club has absolutely no debt at all. If you like spending money in FM, I would absolutely recommend doing a Barcelona save. If we have a look at the dynamics, team cohesion is very good, club atmosphere is excellent, managerial support is very good. We have no unhappy players. If we have a look at the hierarchy, does everyone love me? Not quite everyone, but 21 of the players do. 3 of the players, Openda, Zivkovic and Hernandez, have no opinion of me. I'm a bit upset that Openda doesn't have an opinion. I thought me and him built up a good relationship in the couple of years he's been at the club, but never mind. Right, let's have a look at the transfers that we've made, and we basically have to go back here for the more exciting ones. We'll go through the ones that are left. Firmin completed his £6.5 million move to Leicester at a mandatory fee in his contract, and Frederick Orsnes has gone to Al Hilal for 26 million, raising to 33 million. In terms of the incomings, Florian Wirtz has come in on a free transfer. You already knew about him anyway. He's 5 stars. He's made 2 league appearances, or 2 league starts, 1 sub appearance for us, 3 assists and an 8.15 over on that left-hand side. I think he's going to be phenomenal, and I can't wait to get to the end of this video and show you exactly how good he really is. So yeah, free transfer for him from Bayer Leverkusen. I mean, that is the best bargain I've ever had in Football Manager. William Saliba has come in from Arsenal for 175 million, rising to 200 million. Yeah, that's how desperate I've been to try and spend my... Not that William Saliba isn't a phenomenal centre-back. Let's be honest, I didn't really need a centre-back, but I saw him there and I thought, you know what, I've just got to go for it. I love William Saliba in real life anyway. He's an absolute Rolls Royce of a defender. And yeah, I've basically spent £200 million on him. So, Right, moving on to the current part of the season. In terms of the outgoings, there's no one has been sold, but Serginho Dest, Valentin Carboni, Pablo Tor, Iñaki Pina, who wanted to leave, he was unhappy, and Armando are all out on loan. We've raised £4.5 million in loan fees for those. And in terms of the players coming in, Merlin Roll has come in from Freiburg for £54 million. I'm quite excited by this boy. He can play anywhere on the pitch, barring goal. And to be fair, he's got a 3 for a goalkeeper rating. You don't get that very often. That's pretty much the highest rating an outfield player can get that I've seen anyway. He's 6'4". He's got really solid physicals, really solid mentals, very decent technicals. Bear in mind, he is just their backup, but you can play the advanced playmaker or the Mazzala. He is basically Frederick Orsnes's replacement, and I think we are certainly upgraded with him. He's made 2 league appearances so far at 7.10. Yeah, I think he's going to be really, really good. Then we've got Noah Atabolu, who's come in from RB Leipzig for £29.5 million. He is a backup goalkeeper. Well, we brought him in as a backup goalkeeper, then realised that he's actually better than Mamadashvili. If we have a look at the comparison and compare him on there with Mamadashvili, they're the same for distribution. Atabolu is better at shot stopping, he's better physically, he's not as quick, and he's not got as good a communication as Mamadashvili. They're the same for mentals. Mamadashvili is slightly better aerially, but Atabolu is more eccentric, which is kind of what you need for that sweeper keeper role. He's 6'3", so he's a few inches shorter than Mamadashvili. I mean, to be fair, there's not a great deal to choose from. And if you actually look at the attributes here, for goalkeeping, they both average 13. For mentals, Atabolu averages 12 compared to Mamadashvili's 11. And physically, they're both 13 as well. So there literally is like 1 point between them. So it's going to be interesting trying to keep both of them two happy. Atabolu's got a negative already. He's only just arrived at the club. Would prefer to have a greater standing within his social group. Well, I don't know how to help you with that, to be quite honest. We'll make sure the mentoring groups, in fact, we'll have a look at the mentoring groups right now. Just ask assistant to re-sign. He's not bothered putting them in there, so it is what it is. Right, that's the transfers, the ins and the outs. So £84 million spent and £4.5 million brought into the club. And then if you go back to last season, we almost broke even there. £238 million coming in, £250 million coming out. Obviously, a massive amount of that is William Saliba's 175 rising to £200 million. So, yeah, big one there. Right, I'm going to show you the medical centre as well, because the injuries in August have been horrendous. I'm going to put a screenshot on screen round about now that's got the actual list of how many players we had out injured for the game against Vigo. And yeah, we've had 14 injuries. I think that's probably the most I've seen in 1 month. Well, probably since I've ever played Football Manager. We are down to pretty much everyone being back available now. But it was just horrendous. Everyone was getting injured, and every time I clicked continue, there was 2 players getting injured. It was horrendous. I couldn't believe what was going on. At one point, like I say, that Vigo game, I had about 5 players on the bench. And it was, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Right, if we have a look at the schedule, friendlies have been a bit up and down. We lost to New York City Football Club, which was a bit of a surprise, I must admit. We then beat Memphis 7-0 as part of our USA tour. We then beat Elche 7-1, Numancia 4-1, a 0-0 draw against Fiorentina, 5-0 win against Oviedo, and a 1-1 draw against Leganés. In the league, though, when the season actually started for real, Valencia, we got off to an amazing start. A 6-1 win against Valencia. We were 4-0 up by the time they actually scored their goal. We had goals from Openda, Thuram, Kalioulu, 2 from Neves, 1 from Yamal. I think this was a game where Florian Wirtz got several assists. Yeah, 1, 2, a hat-trick of assists for Florian Wirtz in that game. And yeah, I looked at that and I just thought, wow, if this is what we're going to be like, because Valencia are not a bad team. Then we played West Ham in the UEFA Super Cup, absolutely destroyed them 6-1. Back-to-back 6-1 wins. Merlin Roll getting a couple of goals. Lamine Yamal, Ansu Fati, Gavi and Sivkovic getting on the score sheet there. That's after we went 1-0 down to a Tresoldi goal in the 2nd minute. Then we played Vallecano in the league, a 3-0 win against Vallecano. Lamine Yamal, Lois Openda, Ansu Fati getting on the score sheet for us in that one. Then we had the game against Vigo, and like I say, we barely had a team we could put out. I was actually surprised we won this. All I can say is Vigo must end up being rather rubbish. Openda with a couple of goals, Gavi, Ansu Fati and Yeremy Pino with the goals. And yeah, as you can see, we put a team out. Well, it weren't a bad team, to be fair. It was pretty much our strongest team. Hector Fort wouldn't normally be in our first team. Neither would Balde, neither would Roll, and neither would Pino or Ansu Fati. So actually, there was a lot of changes from what would be our first choice team. Then we played Sporting Gijon and a 2-1 win in that game. We went 1-0 down with Roberto Fernandez, but a Lois Openda penalty and a goal from Gavi made it 2-1. Then we had the deadline day in the transfer window, and we had an offer come in. I'm trying to remember who it was for now. It was from Chelsea, and it was for one of our players, I can't remember which one it was now. Let's see if I can find it on here, because basically they put the offer through there you go, 30. So Chelsea made an offer for 30 at 7 p.m. The transfer window closes at midnight, so it gave us 5 hours to find a replacement. I just rejected it. It was a £41 million offer. Potentially I would have accepted it if we could have negotiated a slightly more realistic fee, but because it left us so tight to try and get someone in, I just rejected it. So far he's not come to me and objected to that, but he may do. In terms of the competitions, these are the competitions we've got. We're obviously in the Spanish Cup, Super Cup. We are playing Atletico Madrid in the semi-final on the 6th of January. You'll find out how we got on in that competition in part 2. Obviously the Spanish Cup, we enter that on the 15th of January. The UEFA Super Cup we've won. We'll get to the Champions League in a moment, and the Spanish First Division, we are already top of the group, clear top of the group. Real Madrid have already lost a game this season, by the way. I'm not sure who they lost it against. Let's have a look at their schedule. They lost against Valencia, who we smashed 6-1. And Valencia were away from home as well, so that was at the Bernabeu. So very disappointing defeat for Real Madrid. If we have a look at our schedule, though, and filter it down for the Champions League fixtures, we've not got a bad draw, to be honest. Inter Milan are obviously one of the really tough ones, as are Liverpool. Marseille, we shouldn't have any issues against. Galatasaray, AZ Alkmaar, Salzburg, Genk and Roma. Other than Inter and Liverpool, who could be a problem, I don't think the rest are going to be much of an issue, because if I filter this to our first choice 11, that is our first choice 11 with Atabolu in goal, Raum, 30 in the wing-back positions, Diomande and Saliba in defence, Thuram, Gavi and João Neves in midfield, Wirtz and Yamal out wide with Openda up top. Then if we move this to our second 11, and I think you'd agree, that is a pretty decent second 11. Mamadashvili in goal, Balde and Fort out wide, Antonio Silva and Jules Koundé in the centre of defence, Williams, Roll and Darvic in the centre of midfield with Pino and Fati out wide and Sivkovic up top. I'll tell you what, I reckon we'd come very close to winning the Liga with this team as our main team. That is how good this squad is. This is, as I said in the intro, this is overpowered FC, and I will be surprised if we just don't win everything, because we're just so good. Right, looking at the scouting, just want to take you through some of the names that I've actually looked at. If we take it off, because I've been searching for goalkeeper, that's what I've got Atabolu in. Now, Martinelli and Odegaard, I did actually look at Martin Odegaard, £275,000. Arsenal are just not prepared to sell him. It's as simple as that. Kylian Mbappe is not for sale. Bukayo Saka, I looked at him. He's already on £350,000 a week. He's going to want far more than what my board would allow me. Victor Osimhen, I just don't want him, to be quite honest. Dusan Vlahovic, again, you look at the price, it's 200 million. It's going to cost an awful lot to get him in. I don't think we've quite got that much left now. Benjamin Šeško was someone I was looking at, but again, I've got a Penda. I don't need a Šeško or an Osimhen or a Vlahovic. Declan Rice I did look at, but he's not for sale, plus he's already on £400,000 a week. Mason Mount, again, you're looking at over 200 million for him. These ones I didn't really consider. Again, if they're in a striker position, I'm not really paying much attention to them. Carlos Baleba is just not good enough. There's no point in buying a wonder kid that's got potential when this is the last season of the save. Moises Caicedo I did look at, but again, he's on 240 at the moment. He's going to cost us upwards of 180 to 200 million pound. And again, I just think Thuram's better than him, quite honestly. So there just wasn't really anyone there that was available to get. We've still got 95 million in the transfer budget. We have got room for one more player in our squad. So we might just splash the cash in just for the sake of spending it in January. But at the moment, there just seemed to be no point, quite honestly. Right, so I think what we'll do now is we'll move over to part 2 of the video to see where we are in the league, where we are in the Champions League, have we qualified for the round of 16, how we're doing in the Spanish Cup and how we did in the Super Cup, and basically just see how many goals we're scoring, how many clean sheets we're getting, and yeah, just seeing how overpowered this football squad is. Okay, we are overpowered as all hell. Look at the league. We'll go into the actual league first of all, but 20 games played, we won all 20. 66 goals scored, only 11 conceded. We're conceding basically 0.5 goals a game-ish, and we're scoring over 3 goals a game. Maximum 60 points. I don't know if we're actually going to go the whole season and just win all 38 games, because it has been insanely easy. If we have a look, we'll go back to the competition, we'll get to the schedule in a moment. Lois Openda tops the goal scoring charts, by the way, 14 league goals. Florian Wirtz is third on the average rating on 7.42. David Ram, our left back, is on 11 assists for the season. Florian Wirtz has 9. He's proving to be the good signing that I always thought he would do. Just notice the name down there, plays for Malaga, Antonio Madrid. I think he's at the wrong club. Right, let's have a look. Champions League, we did slip up in that. We drew one game, and that was against Liverpool, who are all the way down in 10th actually. Liverpool not even as good as what I thought they'd be. We've won our game in the Spanish Cup. We've won the Super Cup, the Spanish Super Cup that is. You already know about us winning the UEFA Super Cup. There's been no transfers necessarily to speak about. The only one I want to raise, and it comes back to what I've said before about the fact that when we sell players from our under 19s and B team, it don't seem to show up in here, because Eamon Cospo was part of our either our B team or under 19, probably our B team, and we sold him to Damac for 16.25 million. There you go, Barcelona B team, sold him for 16.25 million. Now, I'm assuming that because it's the B team, that is the reason why it's not shown in my transfer thing. I don't know how to get the B team on here. There's no option for me to be able to get the B team or sales for the B team or anything like that. But the confusing thing is the money, the £16 million for him, has gone into our transfer budget. So it should really be reflected under our transfer dealings. The reason why that's so high as well, because that was below 100 million by the end of part one, is we've also received the 30-odd million pound, 39 million pound, I think it was, for Pedri, and the fact that he's now played in 20 league games for Manchester City. So Pedri's actual transfer is all paid up now, apart from the instalment that's still to be paid. But yeah, we have basically received the full one, or we will be receiving the full 170 million. He's having a good season for Manchester City as well. Finances, by the way, in the bank, we've got over 300 million pound in the bank. We are loaded. 160 million pound in the transfer budget. Still got a couple of £100,000 in the wage budget. I'm not going to be. I've decided in January not to bring anybody in. We are at the end of the transfer window. The transfer window closed 28th, I think it was. Yeah, 28th. And we're about to play our next game against Valencia. So let's have a look at the schedule, and let's have a look at what it's been like since you were last with us. So you knew about the game against Gijon. We were due to play Almeria next, and we played against Almeria and a 2-0 win in that game. A 4-2 win in our first Champions League game at home against Inter Milan. Florian Wirtz, David Ram, Ansu Fati, João Neves getting on the score sheet. Girona were up next. They were third in the league at the time, and a 5-0 win away from home against Girona. 3-0 win at home against Marseille. Ansu Fati with all 3 goals in there. Nice hat-trick for him. Then we played Sevilla in the league away from home. A 2-1 win in that game. Sivkovic getting on the score sheet in this game. Then we had Real Madrid at home in the league and a 4-1 win against Real Madrid. Once again, in kind of a repeat of last season, Valverde gave Real Madrid the lead, but then we come back. Lois Openda with a penalty. João Neves, Ansu Fati, Kefram Turam. A nice, comfortable 4-1 win against Real Madrid. Then Real San Sebastian were up next and a 4-1 win in that game. Athletic Bilbao away from home next in the league. A 3-0 win in that game. Then Galatasaray in the Champions League. A fully rotated team in there and a 3-0 win against those. Elche in the league next, a 5-0 win against those lowest Openda, getting 4 goals in that game, as occasionally does tend to do. Alaves were up next away from home in the league and a 2-1 win in that game. AZ Alkmaar were up next in the Champions League. That was a game I thought was going to be the first game we was going to drop points. An Ansu Fati penalty in the 92nd minute getting us the win in that game. Then we played Mallorca and a 2-0 win at home in the league in that game. Then away from home in the league against Real Hispales. Again, a late goal, 81 minutes, the only goal in the game as we secured the win. And then we drew 1-1 with Liverpool. Lois Openda giving us the lead before Ibrahima Konate pulled them back into it. Atletico Madrid were up next, a 3-1 win against them in the league at home. Then we played RB Salzburg in the Champions League, a 4-0 win away from home before a 4-0 win at home against Las Palmas and a 1-0 win away from home against Malaga. Then we played Villarreal in the league, a 3-1 win at home in that game. Atletico Madrid in the Super Cup semi-finals, obviously a neutral venue. Florian Wirtz with both the goals in that game. We then played Real Madrid and another 4-1. We seem to like beating Real Madrid 4-1. Lois Openda with 2, Florian Wirtz with 2. Apparently Florian Wirtz has broken a goal scoring record as well because he's got 4 goals in over the course of the 2 games, and that's the highest. Atletico Pamplona were next, 3-1 win in that game. Montijo in the Spanish Cup third round, again a fully rotated side, a 3-0 win in that game. KRC Genk were up next in the Champions League, our second to last game in the Champions League, a 3-1 win in that game. Then Vallecano were up next and a very comfortable 6-0 win against Vallecano. AS Roma were the last team we played in the Champions League. They were second or third in the group stage. We were, I think, top at the time. Or we might have been second, they might have been third. It was something like that anyway. But we then won 3-0 in very comfortable fashion. Florian Wirtz and 2 from Lois Openda. Valencia are up next. If we have a look at the Champions League group table, we are top of it. 8 games played, 7 wins, 1 draw, no loss. Only 4 goals conceded over the 8 games, 22 goals scored. Nearly an average of 3 goals a game in this league phase of the Champions League. Bayern, Napoli, Arsenal, Roma, Juventus, Newcastle, AC Milan all join us automatically through to the round of 16. In terms of big name casualties, I suppose you could probably say Porto are a big name casualty. Leipzig, you'd probably say, are as well. So, yeah, very disappointing for Leipzig finishing that low down. But we are through to the round of 16. We will find out who our opponents are in due course. We've got Huesca in the Spanish Cup 4th round. And if we beat those, has the draw been made for the 5th round yet? No, I don't believe it has. But we will play someone in the 5th round. Has the 4th round quarterfinals been done? Oh, it has. So if we beat Huesca, we will play Mallorca in the quarterfinal of the Spanish Cup. And yeah, it's just been very, very comfortable. We'll show you set pieces as well, because you know I like to be good at set pieces. Average possession, by the way, we're dominating that. I have made a change to the tactic as well. I'll show you that very shortly. But in terms of goals from corners, we top the charts on those. 9 goals from corner kicks so far. From direct free kicks, we haven't scored any of those. And from indirect free kicks, we have 7 goals. We're top of the charts on that. So 16 of our 66 goals in the league have come from set pieces. That is very lovely. In terms of the changes I've made to the tactic, we've changed the anchor to a halfback. It does mean that we don't quite get the best out of Kefram Turam. He prefers to be like a deep line playmaker in that position, but it was an anchor previously that was 3 stars, and he's 3-star suitability for that position as well. And obviously he's been doing a pretty decent job. We've changed the box-to-box midfielder to a Mazzala on support, keeping the attacking playmaker on attack. That's kind of how I have been having this tactic for both Monaco and Dortmund. And it's seeing this like this now with the halfback. If we carry on having this level of success, I could end up changing the halfback or the anchor to a halfback in the Dortmund save as well. And the forward position, instead of being an advanced forward, we've changed him to a complete forward. This is on the back of Erez Levi and Openda himself. They always seem to be offside an awful lot. So I've basically changed Openda to a complete forward in the hope that that changes the amount he's offside. It's not changed it a great deal, I've got to say. I'm still noticing him getting offside a lot. And it could be down to his attributes. I did have someone leave a comment on my Monaco save quite some time back now, stated about the attributes and the fact he's an advanced forward. That's what made me try and change this to a complete forward. And yeah, at the moment though, the tactic's working nicely, as you can see. In terms of the potential youth intake, it doesn't look like it's going to be much of a decent youth intake. It says average to be exact. We've got an A for attacking midfielders and an A for strikers. We might have a couple of 4.5 star players come in, but I'm not looking too hopeful for the youth intake. But again, it don't really matter now. We're at the end of the save. In terms of dynamics, team cohesion is very good. Club atmosphere is excellent. Managerial support is excellent as well. There's a few players that are unhappy. Jules Koundé wants to start more games. Hector Fort wants to leave to get better playing time. Noah Jarvich wants to go out on loan to help secure a permanent move. João Neves wants... João Neves, I don't know what more this man wants. He's featured in 16 of our 20 league games, and he's complaining that he's not starting enough games. I don't know. I have to leave people out at some point. And Juan Hernandez, disappointed not to be able to join Mallorca on loan. But tough. The transfer window's closed now, so none of them are going to be going anywhere. And yeah, that's probably about all I'm going to show you. We've shown you the finances and all that sort of stuff. So let's move over to part 3 to see if we have just won everything there is to win and celebrate how absolutely awesome this Barcelona team has become. Oh, here we are. We have won the lot. We've won the Liga. We've won the Champions League. We've won the Super Cup. We've won the Spanish Cup. We've won the Spanish Super Cup. It has been a season to remember. I do have one slight disappointment though. If we go to the Spanish First Division La Liga to you and me, no, we didn't manage to win all 38 games. And frustratingly, we didn't get to go invincible either. And I'm so gutted about that because I've never had an invincible season on Football Manager. And I really thought this was going to be my time. But we have broken the points record, 107 points, beating the total of 106 points, wherever it's gone. There it is, of Real Madrid. In the year we got 99 points. But yeah, it has just been an incredible set. 113 goals scored, by the way. Only 19 conceded. That's the best defensive record we've had in La Liga. If we go back to the beginning of the save, season 1, we got 100 goals, 25 goals against, points 95. Season 2, and that's we won it with that as well. Season 2, we failed to win it with 99 points, 97 goals scored, 21 goals conceded. In our third season, 100 points, 97 goals scored, 21 goals conceded. Very, very consistent to have the same record 2 seasons in a row. And then last season, we had 103 points, 111 goals, 21 conceded, 4 draws, 1 defeat. Then this season, 113 goals scored, 19 conceded, 107 points. It has been such an amazing season. If we have a look at the schedule, the last time he was with us was just before we played Valencia here. And I said to you then, can we win all 38 games? That question was answered very quickly when we drew the very next game against Valencia 1-1, going 1-0 down to a Leon Bailey goal, and then Ansu Fati scoring the equaliser in the 61st minute. Then we played Huesca in the Spanish Cup 4th round, away from home, a 4-1 win in that game. Then we had Mallorca in the Spanish Cup quarter-final, winning that one 3-0 at home. Sivkovic, Antonio Silva, Ansu Fati. Antonio Silva obviously likes the Spanish Cup because he got 2 goals in the previous game as well. Then we played Vigo, winning 5-0 in that game. 2 goals from Wirtz, 1 from Openda, 1 from Neves and 1 from Merlin Roll. I will leave it up to you to pause it if you want to see when we played rotated teams, because we did rotate quite a bit. Gijon were up next, a 3-0 win in the league in that one at home. Then away from home against Almeria, where we've not had much luck away from home from Almeria in recent seasons. picking up a 3-1 win in that game. Girona were up next in the Spanish Cup semi-final first leg, and a very dodgy 3-2 win. We did go 1-0 up for Antonio Silva. Then Dovbyk pulled it back to 1-1. Ansu Fati then scoring in the 72nd minute. And then he scored again in the 94th minute. At that point, I'm like, oh, lovely. But, just capped it off nicely. A nice 3-1 win. But then Cabral got a goal back for him in the 96th minute. That was pretty much the last kick of the game. Then we had Sevilla in the league at home, a 3-0 win in that game, before drawing the away game against PSG in the UEFA Champions League round of 16 first leg, a 1-1 draw there. Real Madrid then were up next, and they beat us in the league 1-0 at the Bernabeu. Frustrating to lose, but if anyone was going to beat us, it was going to be Real Madrid, let's be honest. Then we had PSG in the Champions League round of 16 second leg, a 2-0 win in that game, putting us through 3-1 on aggregate. Athletic Bilbao were up next in the league at home, a 6-2 win. Nico Williams scoring 2 for them, but we were just lethal in this game. Then we had Girona away from home in the second leg of the semi-final of the Spanish Cup, a 2-0 win in that game, meaning we went through 5-2 on aggregate. Elche were up next in the league, a 2-0 win in that one, followed by a 4-0 win against Alaves at home in the league. Mallorca away were up next, a 2-0 win in that one. Then we had Arsenal in the Champions League quarter-final first leg. Ben White own goal giving us a very narrow win in the away leg. Real Hispalis were dispatched quite comfortably 3-1 in the league. Then the second leg against Arsenal, a 4-2 win at home in this one. I was quite surprised to see Kieran Tierney getting on a score sheet for Arsenal, but hey-ho. Then we had the Spanish Cup final against Almeria, and it was a 4-2 win, followed by 2 games in the league, one against Atletico Madrid, which we drew 2-2, and Real San Sebastian, which we won 1-0. Chelsea were the next team up in the Champions League. It was a semi-final first leg, a 1-1 draw in that game, followed by a 1-0 win away in the league against Las Palmas. Then we had Chelsea in the second leg of the semi-final. We won that 5-0 very, very comfortably. I couldn't believe how easily we won that. Then Malaga were 6-0 in the league. That was, I do love it when we score a lot of goals. 2-0 against Girona, 2-0 against Villarreal, 1-0 against Atletico Pamplona. And just look at all these clean sheets. I mean, you go back in the league, we conceded 2 against Atletico Madrid on the 18th of April. We then played 5 league games and didn't concede a goal. Then we come up against Liverpool in the Champions League final and 5-2 winners in that game. We went 1-0 up through Lamine Yamal in the 9th minute, but then Darwin Núñez pulled it back to 1-1 before Yamal then made it 2-1. And literally instantly later, the very next thing that happened was they went down the other end and equalised again to make it 2-2. But then Lois Openda 2 minutes after that making it 3-2 before 4 minutes later Yamal making it, that's 3-2, then Yamal making it 4-2. That hour mark, them 7 minutes there producing 4 goals, incredible part of the game, it really was. And then Antonio Silva put the game beyond any doubt in the 95th minute with a lovely, lovely goal. Now, one thing I do want to say, and I've said it before about English clubs being overpowered in FM, but after we got past PSG, it's Arsenal from the Premier League, Chelsea from the Premier League, Liverpool from the Premier League. And it's just like English clubs traditionally in real life are pretty rubbish in Europe, so especially the Champions League. So to have this, and you get this most seasons, the English clubs always do really, really well. But I can't complain. We did beat them. We did win it. So, yeah, that is where we finished up. That is how we done. Lois Openda, top goal scorer and all this sort of stuff. But I'll tell you what, let's go over to the end of season review and we'll go through all of the stats and whatever else in there. Okay, here we are for the end of season review, and we've done the quintuple. All 5 trophies on here from right to left: the UEFA Super Cup, the Spanish Super Cup, the Spanish Cup, the Champions League and La Liga. Right, let's get into it. The new arrivals: Florian Wirtz, we bought in from Bayer Leverkusen on a free transfer, remember. 34 starts, 14 sub appearances. That's 48 appearances in total. 15 goals, 24 assists at 7.50. For me, he is the sign of the season. The fact that he was free and that good. He's the record breaker for the assists as well for us this season. Martin Roll from Freiburg for 54 million. 28 starts, 10 sub appearances, 8 goals, 10 assists at 7.23. He was absolutely worth the 54 million. He has been an amazing success as well. A tireless midfielder. Then Noah Atabolu, which the club has got down as the signing of the season. 29.5 million, 42 appearances at 7.19. He kept so many clean. I can't even remember how many clean sheets he had, but we'll get to that shortly. But I can kind of understand them doing that, I suppose. I don't know why they've overlooked Florian Wirtz. I would have thought with Florian Wirtz being a free transfer as well, they would have absolutely lapped that up. But I won't hold it against Atabolu. It just wouldn't be my choice. Then William Saliba, £200 million signing from Arsenal. 36 starts, 11 sub appearances. That's 47 appearances in total. 5 goals, 3 assists at 7.17. And along with Diamande was part of that awesome central defensive partnership that we had. In terms of players going out, Frederick Orsnes went to Al Hilal for £33 million. He's had a good season. He's made us a little bit of profit and had a good season himself. Happy days. Firmin has gone to Leicester for £6.5 million. They will probably consider that a bargain. 10 goals, 6 assists from 53 appearances at 7.09. He's been a great signing for them, and I always thought he would be. In terms of the season's results, we've already gone through how this has all happened, so we don't need to spend too much time on it again. But yeah, we won the league. Lois Openda, top goal scorer. Champions League, Lois Openda, the top goal scorer. Martin Roll, the top goal scorer in the UEFA Super Cup. Florian Wirtz, top goal scorer in the Spanish Super Cup. And Ansu Fati, top goal scorer in the Spanish Cup as well. Board are very happy with all of those. Moments to remember, biggest win, 6-0 win against Vallecano. The match to remember was the 3-1 win against Real Hispalis. And the goal of the season was Lamine Yamal in the 5-0 win against Girona. A memorable goal from the right wing as he dribbles from inside the Girona half before scoring a daisy cutter from 25 metres. Club's reputation can't get any higher. We're worldwide 5 stars. No new sponsorship deals, even though sponsorship's gone up by about 13 million. Broadcast revenue has somehow gone down. I don't know how when we've won everything. I don't know how the broadcast revenue has gone down by 5 million, but it has. Corporate and hospitality has gone down by $1 million and a bit. Competition prize money has gone up by 3 million, and the match day commercial and retail has gone down by a few quid. £160 million in total merchandise sales. 1.6 million shirt sales. Out of those, Gavi, Openda, Yamal, Fati and Wirtz getting the most shirt sales. Glad to see Wirtz on there. One of my new signings, of course. Oh, this is agony. Out of our starting 11, we've got one that doesn't qualify as a green because he's on a 6.99. And I think you need to be on a 7.01 because I think even a 7.00 will not have you green. But the team they've gone with is Atabolu in goal, Raum and Fort out wide in defence with Saliba and Diamande in the centre. Thuram, Neves and Gavi in the midfield with Wirtz, Yamal and Openda up top. And I completely agree with that as well. I think that is, you could argue Ferdi Kaliolu, but Hector Fort has been fantastic. One of their youth academy products as well. I was manager of the month for August, September, October, November and January. They didn't like me in December and they didn't like me after January, and I didn't get manager of the year. The manager of Real Hispalis got that. The record breakers, most assists by a player in a season, Florian Wirtz with 24 assists. Fastest goal was Florian Wirtz for 27 seconds. In terms of the player awards, fans player of the season, Florian Wirtz at 7.5. Young player of the season is Lamine Yamal. Sign of the season is Noah Atabolu. Goal of the season, we know, is Lamine Yamal. Lois Openda, the top goal scorer with 41, even 40 goals again in a season. Most assists in a season, as we know, is Florian Wirtz. Most player of the match awards, as we know, is Florian Wirtz. Highest average rating is Florian Wirtz. And most passes completed per 90 minutes is William Saliba for 81 passes per 90 minutes. What a wonderful man he is. Barcelona were among the favourites to become champions and showed why when they turned on the style midway through the year. There's all of our trades. Can't even fit them on there. You need to stack them up, but you can if you list them. Barcelona came together so powerfully in the middle of the season to set themselves up for the title many fancied them to win. And the manager timeline is what the manager timeline is. If we then get over to here, so our overall best 11 at the end of this save has Mamadashvili in goal, Balde and Fort in the wing-back positions, Diamande and Antonio Silva in centre of defence, Thuram, Pedri and Gavi in midfield, Rafinha and Yamal out wide with a Penda up top. I mean, that is a pretty decent team, isn't it? Let's be honest. In terms of supporter profile, hardcore stays at 5%, core stays at 16%, family has gone up to 24%, while the fair weather has gone down to 23%. Corporate and casual stay the same as well, 5 and 27% respectively. Somehow we've managed to lose 500,000 followers on social media. I mean, I'd like some sort of explanation as to how that has happened. I don't know, but anyway. Supporters have a low influence on the board, and there's still 149,500 supporters on the season ticket waiting list. That don't really matter. Dynamics, if we have a look over there, team cohesion, excellent. Club atmosphere, excellent. Managerial support, excellent. Koliolu wants to leave to play in a better division. Okay. And Juan Hernandez disappointed not to be able to join Mallorca on loan, but yeah, whatever. I'm not going to bother with the end of season team meeting. We don't need to do it, or the training camp destination, because this is the end of the save, of course. Now, we'll go to finances, because obviously the whole point of this save, as well as me just having a good time winning lots of things and spending plenty of money and whatever else, was about getting the club's financial footing back where it needs to be. Bear in mind, we do also have 100% of the transfer revenue made available to us. Our transfer budget, if we're staying, would be 287.6 million. That is disgusting. A wage budget of 5.1 million as well. But if we get to nets, debts and loans, we have no net debt. We have still got the outstanding bank loan, but no net debt, and a transfer debt of only 35 million. The projections are looking pretty decent. For some reason, it's now going down in the 29-30 season, but I'm not going to be here for that, so I don't care. And yeah, we have £275 million in the bank. That will tip up to over 300 million once the rest of the money carries on pouring in. So it's all looking really rather splendid. If we go and have a look at my history here, we've been here for 1,785 days. I've earned £25 million in the 5 years I've been here. I can quite happily say I've earned my retirement. Games played 312, 258 wins, 33 draws, 21 defeats, a win percentage of 82. Goals scored 806, goals against 204, goal difference 602. We've bought 19 players at a total value of £1.07 billion. I have spent over £1 billion in 5 seasons. Now, for anyone that's a fan of Chelsea, you probably think, well, that's nothing. We do that in 2 transfer windows. But for me, at Barcelona and at Football Manager, that is disgusting. We've sold 45 players at a transfer value of 842 million. So really, when you look at it that way, our net spend is negative 160 million in 5 seasons. I think that's pretty decent myself. Highest fee spent is the 200 million for William Saliba, and the highest fee received is 170 million for Pedri. We've paid agents £9 million, and we've only released 3 players. We've won 14 cups and 4 league titles. So over here on the tactics page, because one of the last things I wanted to show you, was how our first choice team looks like. And that's basically what you saw on the first 11, to be honest. One other thing I did want to show you as well is we have been trying to bleed in a couple of the younger players. And Juan Hernandez is disappointed he couldn't go to Mallorca. He's played, made 4 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist at 8.90. He's not been anything spectacular. He did make a few appearances for us there, and also he made couple of cup appearances last season. We've also brought in this guy here, Ricard Muntadas. Yeah. He's got a valuation of up to nearly 20 million, 5-star potential player. And he's made 10 appearances from us, all starts, 1 goal, 1 assist at 6.86. In terms of the league, he's made 6 appearances in the league. So the 17-year-old will pick up a league winners medal, a Champions League winners medal, I would assume as well. So he's had a pretty decent start to life as a football player, really, hasn't he? So yeah, and Hector Fort as well. He has been the big success of this save in terms of homegrown talent, because he's been with us ever since he joined us. He was 16 at the start of this save, and he's made 108 league appearances, scoring 7 goals, getting 20 assists at an overall average rating of 7.04. I think we can say we've had a success with Hector Fort. And yeah, he's been a really decent player. He was a 5-star potential. He's now 3.5 to 4.5. I imagine it's probably only going to get to 3.5. But for someone that is a homegrown at club player, been here for the whole of his career, one club man so far, if we was to ever move him on, he's got a valuation of up to 120 million. That's 120 million pure profit as well. He's got 16 for determination, so he's a very determined young man. And yeah, he's probably been the biggest, or has been the biggest success from a homegrown perspective. So basically, that brings us to an end of the rebuild with Barcelona. We've done what we set out to do. We've repaired the finances. They're all looking rather lovely now. And the other thing I wanted to do as well is I wanted to have some fun along the way by signing some world-class players and seeing if I could put together an awesome team. And this has probably been the best team I've ever had in the history of Football Manager. It has been phenomenal, and I'm going to miss it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think I'd want to do any more seasons with Barcelona, because it does get boring just winning everything all the time and there being no competition for you. So if I was to make this a more regular save, like say I was going to do it as a private save offline or whatever, I'd probably have to turn it into like a youth recruitment or academy save, dev centre save, something like that, just to make it more interesting. But I've absolutely loved doing this. I've loved seeing how these players have performed as well. And yeah, I think it's been a good way to end the rebuild series. So there will be no more rebuilds for the FM24 cycle. They will be back in FM25 probably, or definitely will be in the new year. For those of you that keep up to date with FM25 news, you will be aware that the release date for Football Manager 25, FM25, is not going to be the beginning of November as it traditionally is. It's going to be the end of November, or in the latter half of November, which means that the FM beta will most likely be out the beginning to the middle of November rather than mid-October like it normally is. So I'm basically going to give myself a few Sundays off. There will be a video out at probably in 2 or 3 weeks' time on a Sunday detailing my plans for FM25. I have got a lot planned for it. I've got some really exciting stuff planned for it, and hopefully you will stay with me for the ride. Please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications as well. Don't forget the Unemployed Journeyman is still going on. That is going to be still Monday to Friday at the moment. I may release videos on a Sunday, so even more reasons to subscribe and turn your notifications on so you get to know all about that. So yeah, thank you for joining me for the rebuilds. Hope you check out the Unemployed Journeyman. There's also playlists on the channel for how-to guides and the Bottoms Up series we've done, and the Luton Town Let's Play from the FM24 beta. Plenty more on there as well. Check all that out if you want, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.